Crossing fingers here. Crossing fingers. Okay, it says I'm live. It says I'm live, so I'm going to move it to this screen over here. All right, and it looks like the chat is up. The chat was getting everything was wonky the last time. So here we go. Hello. Yay, chat. Very cool. Technology. All righty. So what do we got going on here? There we go, Cheryl. Good to see you. And I saw Judy had tuned in a little bit before on the old one, Spreading Sunshine at Judy Dukes. Okay, you two were on the first one. It got wonky. So cool. You know what we just do is we stop the thing that isn't working and we start something that is hopefully going to work, which is here we are. You know, there we go. We get Leslie and Kat. We get the crew here. This was kind of fun. I got somebody, I want to write this down. It's the Pen Pal Club. I like the sound of that. Do you like the sound of that? That's the people who want to get together. Yeah, it's always a new adventure. It keeps us flexible, though. Notice how you can freak out about stuff. I know this. My mother does this all the time. So if anything, learning how to keep your cool, even when things are not going well, will help you do stuff again. You don't freak out. You say, okay, wait a minute, this isn't happening. Try to problem solve. It's not working. Let's scrap it and let's start a new one. There we go. My God, Kat Roby, speaking of flexible, yoga day 3 accomplished. Boom. I love it. I actually had the opportunity to sign up for a stretchy class tonight, which is great because I had 2 classes that were about to expire on my little class pack card. And now I was able to do it because somebody canceled. So yay for moving your body and being flexible. Please, people, this is the great thing about me being the only person on a camera. If you want to do some stretchies while we're doing this YouTube live, go right ahead. You know, good stuff. Leslie did some laundry and clothes done, you know, eating breakfast, putting some gas in her tank, and then on to the photos. Now that'll be interesting because I know from when I go through photos, Leslie, I need to pay attention to what's going on in my head. But the neat thing is I know there's layers of what goes on in your head. Is sometimes if you're doing kind of a general sort, it can sometimes help to have something else running in the background so that it kind of drowns out some of your backseat drivers. Other times you may want to hear what the stories are of the photos. So it depends. So I love that. I love that you're getting good stuff. And seriously, getting laundry done, walking around your house, decluttering. If you have your pedometer on you, which again, I have my phone on me a lot, and I often purposely carry it around with me to clock my steps. You know, there we go. Hello, club. We're a club. I decided we're the Pen Pal Club. We're the Decluttering Club. So good morning, Anne. Nice to see you. And this is great. So in the last one in the TikTok live, Leslie decided that love it was going to be her sippy cup, her shot glass of choice. Anytime I said love it, she was going to take a sip. I think she's up to 3 sips right now. So I am doing the same. I will. When you said that, it reminded me to drink some water. I've already had my first kind of cup of water today. Not cup, but like these I try to drink 2 of these during the day. Okay. And it's something that's on my habit tracker, water number 1 and water number 2. So even right now, red, orange, yellow is today. Our Roy G. Biv, remember him? I've done water number 1. I've done walk number 1, and I've taken my vitamins. And the neat thing is yeah, I will have an official stretch class tonight, which will stretch me more than I would stretch myself. Okay. Ooh, feel free to elaborate. Anne says, I've been doing a little clean and declutter hack that not everyone may know for bundling odd-shaped but like things together. Please share. I always love to learn new things. Okay. Saran wrap, kind of like bundling pallets with the bigger stuff. What a cool idea. What a cool idea. So try it. That sounds cool to me. Saran wrap. It's not just for leftovers anymore. Thank you for sharing, Anne. What a cool idea. Kat Roby. Okay, she's ready to work. Consolidating files to go through into my project box to quantify. I have 8 probably duplicate files because they need to have a real place in my filing system. Notice how having a home for something on your computer is similar but different than having a home for something in your physical world, because in the physical world you typically only have, you may have one copy of something. On your computer you could have multiple copies and they can be named different things and they can be different versions and different qualities and all that. So sometimes that stuff needs a little bit of a deeper dive. So good on you for realizing that. Good stuff. Now, of course, you may have duplicates of things at home, saying, "Do I need to keep this, or do I need to even keep this at all?" Now, here's a paperwork um, thing that I have recently implemented. Is I realize when I go to the doctor, because we, thank goodness, have health insurance, even though we pay for it, that we get something in the mail that is some sort of thing that they show to say like how much you owe, and it usually says 0. I used to just put those in the health folder of my Expando file, kind of just in case I needed them. I have never looked at those in my life. So I said to my husband, you know what? I'm going to start when we get these in, I will notice it. And if it says a 0 on it, I'm just going to put it in the recycle bin. Now, that's me having taught people about decluttering for years, also modifying my habits based on my experience. So, yeah, anytime you can decrease the amount of stuff you keep, it can be easier. Now, I'm still not sure because sometimes they come in and say, like, you owed a little bit of money. So, I want to keep track of that so it doesn't come as a surprise to me if they send me a bill. However, the ones that say 0 are now going in the recycle bin. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. Mm-hmm. All righty. And Kat is really hoping to trash most of it. Uh-huh. Yes, I have read that too. Anne says, I also read an unhinged ADHD hack somewhere today that said, do I love it so much that I'd clean poop off of it to save it? Yeah. Here's me. I don't even want to imagine poop on it, because even if I cleaned the poop off of it, my brain would still have an association with poop and the thing, and it would kind of gross me out. That's just me. The poop thing has worked for other people though, you know? I would probably, if my stuff was covered with poop, I'd get so grossed out that I'd probably be like, "No, I'm just gonna buy all new stuff." Even if I cleaned it off, I would still have the association of it being, having poop on it. Now, obviously, I've picked up dog poop and I've gotten dog poop on my hands, and I did not cut off my hands to use them. But it is something to think of, using your imagination. What story could I tell myself about this item that would make me more likely to keep it or more likely to give it away? You know, I know that I have some of my Fiesta wear, is most of it is not the stuff from my first divorced marriage. Some of it may be, but I kind of forget. It can be really nice sometimes to forget the stories associated with things, because it's distinctly conceivable, if somebody was to go factually, that some of those, not even the luncheon plates, like the little, they're not even a buttered dish. Maybe they are. I'll have to look and see what they call them, but they're the small plates. One or two of those may be from the starter wedding, but I don't remember that. I keep them fine, and now they're ones we use all the time. So I have kind of wiped the stink of that failed marriage off of them, as it were. But stories are powerful things. We tell ourselves stories as human beings to make sense of the world, to help us through stuff that sometimes doesn't make sense at all. We are also just, we also tell stories and we feel feelings. And it's the blessing and the curse of being a human being. I notice, I was just thinking about this, the people, the human beings that turn into robots don't feel, they don't react. They're the unhappy ones. They are the ones that are treating the other world like unfeeling to the other human plight. I'm not a robot. I'm not AI generated, and I lead with my heart, and there's nothing wrong with that. The heart is one of the most powerful things you have in your human body. The heart helps you do good things. When you deny your feeling, when you don't see the humanity of people and you just see people that you can make money from or put into a freaking camp, that you see people as other and not just a mom trying to get a meal for her kid so the kid doesn't starve, that's a robot. I don't want to be a robot. Pee-wee, Randy called me a robot. I'm not a robot. All right, now let me just check over here. So what do you guys want to talk about today, huh? I'm throwing the ball in your court. All right, there we go. Ball is in your court. Yes, good pre-4th of July. Hey, y'all. Hey, Carla Jane. Nice to see you. We could sing some songs from Multiplication Rock is brought to you by Nabisco. Schoolhouse Rock. You know, there's a lot of Schoolhouse Rocks. I will share this one with you. Yay, Cat Roby trashed, 1 file trashed. 2 files trashed. I got a little bit verklempt. I got a little bit verklempt when my husband and I were driving up to Vermont. So we were putting stuff on the radio, and I wanted to hear some of the Schoolhouse Rock, the history ones about like No More Kings and suffragettes and the preamble. I got all choked up singing the preamble to the Constitution because I'm a feeling person. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, justice, domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. In 1787, I'm told our founding fathers did agree. Now, I would totally need to. I could sing it, but it would be like on karaoke where you have like the lyrics right there. You know, I love it. Carly Jane says, "Got my 3 boxes ready to go last night. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only the bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill." Actually, here's a fun thing. How about using "I'm just a bill" when you're looking at your paperwork on your desk? When you're looking at your mail coming in, you can look at it and say, "It's just a bill. Yeah, it's only a bill." And it's really like that rolled up piece of paper going, "Ma'am, I'm just trying to gently remind you that you promised somebody you owed that you would pay some money. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just a bill. And I'm sitting here on your cluttery hill. It's just a bill." Okay? So treat it just like, it's just trying to do its job. Don't shoot the messenger. It's just trying to remind you that you promised to pay your bill when it said, "Okay, if we allow you to buy this now, you'll pay the bill later." And you said, "Yep." So it's just reminding you of a promise you made. There we go. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Yes, I love using conjunction, junction because it's and instead of but or. I love the and. Okay. Yes. Cat Roby, we're doing Schoolhouse Rock and Sesame Street because we've got 2 files trashed. I love it. Yes. Instead of saying I could do it, but what? I'm too old. Yes, I could do it, and I'm going to do it. I could do it, or I could not do it. So pick the junction that's going to give you the sentence that feels the best. Cat Roby is doing the things. Trashed the credit card crap. Love it. What a good feeling. You're declaring your independence from your clutter. Yeah, there we go. A time-sensitive thing. Kimmy's saying, "I'm cleaning the crap out of the fridge because trash pickup is tomorrow." Yeah. Yeah, man, did we go through some stuff when we knew they were picking up the trash. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, Wendy, that's a good idea. And I appreciate you looking out for me. If I may offer a gentle tip, please be careful not to sing too much of a song. Your video could get hit with a copyright violation from YouTube and TikTok. Yeah, because they're jerks, but I get it. Sometimes people will do that. I believe even in the common usage, 8 seconds is typically what you can use on something if it's for a non commercial use. Also, frankly, my singing skills are so not professional that I would be surprised if AI could pick up what I was singing based on the notes that my throat decided to sing it at. But thank you for looking out for me. Yeah. Yeah, I've learned that the hard way actually, because I've tried to have some songs in the background and to no offense. Yes. Oh, funny. They can even try to ding you if you do it as a spoken word. Interesting. Mm-hmm. So if you think about that, that's probably good for the person, it's more good for the people who make money from those things. There we go. I love it. Carla Jane threw out cardboard last night. They are running a day ahead on that. Okay, so yeah, we threw out some cardboard using a container. Think about this. You notice how we talk about containers with your clutter, thinking of how much stuff can we get in the trash bin before it's trash day? Can we use it as like a game to say how much can we fill up that trash bin or that recycle bin or both of them before it's trash time? We did it last week. Can we do it again? Are there still more things that can go in the recycle bin? I know we have quite a bit of it because the boxes that the patio set came in are still there, but my husband wants to use some of that cardboard for something. But we tore down some of them a little bit at a time, putting it in every week along with the regular stuff that you recycle. So, yeah. Mhm. I love it. Higher Anne says I've gotten rid of probably four, I must have said three, four big bags and a few boxes in the past couple weeks and an actual plan to unload more. Awesome. I found two thrift places locally that actually help the community instead of focusing on profit. Yeah, it can really make you feel good and encourage you to donate more when it's a cause that makes you feel good in your heart. You know? Here's funny, we are playing the home version of, I think her name is Christy Newwerts or something on TikTok. How long does it really take? So we're playing our version here. So thank you, Christy. So she says, holy shnikes, down to two left. And these have been here, sitting here maybe 6 months. So notice the things that you thought were going to, oh my God, that's going to take a long time. I mean, it's maybe taken you a half hour. Okay, but what great work. Don't beat yourself up. Laugh at the fact that you believed the voice in your head that said it's going to be difficult and it's going to take a long time. How foolish of me to listen to a source like that and think what they were saying was true. I don't trust my backseat driver. Maybe 1 in 10 times they will say something that's of value, but even when they say that, I will check my sources and say, is that really true? Do I not have enough time? Now, I was married to a liar. I was. And I have taken years to begin to trust people again. But as soon as people prove they're untrustworthy, they are not worthy of my trust. But I can't divorce my backseat driver. My backseat driver thinks it's telling the truth because it doesn't know. It doesn't have a watch. It doesn't have a calendar. It's like, it's going to take forever. We'll never get there. It's like a little kid, doesn't know how to tell time or use a calendar. So check your sources, okay? Check your sources. Okay, so notice this is great too. Kat Roby is walking us through her decluttering because this is valuable info. It's like a live report coming in live from Kat Roby's office. She realized that the reason they were there for that long is she had a wire file riser that I thought I should use. I prefer a getting things done sort of file cabinet. So bye bye to the file riser. You are going to experiment with products, ideas, systems, containers, All of that. You are experimenting right now. You're in the experimentation part of your life, finding what works and finding what doesn't. Oh, I think that might work. Let me try that file riser. Well, when I used that, the stuff was there for 6 months. So there's something about that that just isn't working for me. What I'm going to then try is the getting things done file cabinet. Now we have a folder that's in the drawer of the desk that we can now get to because the exercise bike is down the basement again. And we have a folder of stuff that's like the active stuff. And that tends to work for us. So I say to you, do not get discouraged when you have yet to find the system that works for you. Finding out all the ways that doesn't work for you is narrowing it down, is honing into getting closer to what does work for you. Yay! Heather MC is in the house. She just got done shopping for her Fourth of July feast, and then she's headed home to tidy the kitchen. Headed home to tidy the kitchen to then make the feast. Notice how a tidy kitchen will make it easier for you to do the feast. And thank you for reminding me about that because we're supposed to bring a salad to this thing tomorrow. And I said, buy the ingredients for the salad. But again, I can't do that until I find out. Look up recipe for salad. No, we only made this one particular salad. Literally, it's one that I saw on TikTok, but it was the replica of something we had at a restaurant that was so tasty and fresh and delicious that we made it once, but I don't remember if we wrote it down and put it in the recipe book or it's something that we scrolled. So I will say check book, and if not, check TikTok favorites. So notice I said to myself where to look for that. Okay? Yeah. Ha 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 ha. Ha. No, Carla Jane says, I bought an organizer for earrings. I received it yesterday. Once I got it yesterday, I said, who in the world wears that many earrings? I don't. Return, return. Yes. The sooner you can realize something doesn't work for you, and the sooner you get it out of your home, the less negative impact it will have on your life. The sooner you realize, like I bought a dress online and I wore it or I tried it on and it's a little bit big. Now I can't return it because it was a final sale. So now if I want to wear it, I either can be comfortable with it being big or I can get it tailored or, hemmed or whatever. I have another one that I bought that I can possibly return. I'm going to try on to make sure it fits because if it doesn't fit, I want to make sure I know that. A, so I don't plan on wearing it and then be disappointed when it doesn't fit. But B, I want to be able to return it within that window of opportunity to get my money back. The sooner you do something that helps you decide whether it's a keeper or a let go, the better off you'll feel about that. So, yay. And what I want to offer to all y'all, okay, is decluttering in the order of operations. Decluttering comes before getting good containers for things. Okay. Many times people have it opposite. Okay. Many times people have it opposite because they think if I buy the container there, it will help me to declutter. But decluttering is deciding. Decluttering is decision making. Decluttering says, do I want this or not? If you declutter, then you have a better idea of how many of whatever it is that you have. Okay. So, like, for example, Carla, it would be interesting for you to count how many pairs of earrings you actually do wear. I wear literally about 4. I cycle through them and sometimes I show up not wearing them at all. So I don't need a lot. They literally live on the top shelf of that pink old sewing kit. Or sometimes they're so flat. Actually, I think 2 of them are right on the shelf above them. So notice how many things you have. It will help you find a proper container. We're doing that with my husband's musical things, seeing how many microphones he has, deciding which ones he's keeping, which ones he's letting go of. And then once we see that, what's a good container that will contain them? What's a good way to store them so we know exactly where to go and where they are? If you try to put the cart before the horse, you may find you're buying something and then having to return it, you know? So, um, see, I love it. Anne has a box of index cards for those recipe occasions. Everything in that box is 100% reliable. I have a cute little recipe box that actually has the cards in it that were my mother-in-law's. It's more of a sentimental thing. There are occasional things in there, but then I have a sassy little binder that I got that has like this 50s housewife on it that's with blank pages in it. And so when we decide a recipe is a keeper, sometimes if we don't forget, we will write it down. So I will try there first. And it's really interesting to go through that to see the specific recipe book you write yourself as to what are the things you tend to eat often or what are things you used to eat but you don't eat much anymore. Really fascinating. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Wendy is saying a lot of my clothing clutter was because I dislike returning things. Now, this is interesting because you used two verb tenses there. So, do you no longer have clothing clutter that needs to be returned? Or have you come to the realization that returning things actually gets your money back? It's the one way, it's the only way that when you buy something and it doesn't work out, you can guarantee that you get your money back. Even though, other ways, when you hang on to it and you can't return it, you never get your money back, but you think you are. Now you're saying, I developed scar tissue and couldn't wear earrings any longer. I kept them for ages, but then they got donated. Yeah. Notice the things you used to wear. Notice the things you can't wear anymore. Scar tissue, weight gain, weight loss, the things that you used to be comfortable in that you're not so comfortable in anymore. My body is different than when I was a teen in a 20 in a bikini. Even though I've lost weight, there's still quite a little, Michelin man in the middle there. It's not as big as it was, but I don't feel comfortable wearing a bikini. I did buy myself a new bathing suit, of which I'm psyched about. I may wear that tomorrow to the party for my friend. Um, but notice how we do change. We are not the same people we were even January 1st of this year. Think about that. We are now officially over halfway through this year. Are you closer to your destination decluttered? You know? Yep. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So Wendy says, I kept stuff for ages because I didn't return things. Yeah. So you had things that aged out, right? The good news is those things that you wanted to return that still may have the tags on them that the window of opportunity will close on some things, people. It really will. But the neat thing is if you donate things with tags on them, that will give a good indication to people who might buy them to say they've never been worn. Okay. I'm working on not overbuying. Very good idea. Love it. So I haven't had a chance to return something. So that will be an item I need to work on in the future. So what I will share with you, Wendy, is just think again, decluttering and deciding what you want and returning items means you get your money back, that you're not wasting money on something because you were able to return it. Now, notice me, I bought this dress. I could have exchanged it maybe for another size, but I can't because it was on sale and the price went up. So now I can't return it. So I'm going to have to do something so I feel like I didn't waste my money on that dress. I can either wear it big or get it tailored. Tailoring is going to cost money, but hopefully not as much as the um, original price of the thing, or I can just be comfortable with it being a little bit bigger on me. So but I can't get my money back. I kind of wish I could, but I knew going in what the return policy was, but it was at such great deal and I really thought I wanted it. But this was me getting intrigued by something, buying it online. I did hit the feeder button kind of capriciously, being like, "Ooh, I want that." And I got it, but now I can't get my money back. Yeah. Oh, man. Kat Roby put things into perspective. As of today, we are closer to 2050 than we are the year 2000. Okay, I'm going to do some math. Math along with me. Okay, everybody. I don't know how old you are. I always say to people, age math will freak you out. I'm going to see how old I'm going to be in 2050. I will be as old as my mother is right now. Wow. Okay. How do I, if I were 84 years old, what would I say to my 58-year-old self and encourage her to do? Think about that. Write it down. All right. Anne says, this may be an impossible question. I don't know. Give me a shot. But how do we approach keeping this to pass on to the young people? I don't want to saddle them with a bunch of stuff, but also what if they want it? Like 100-year-old family artifacts, jewelries, photos. Okay. Assuming the kids are youngish and not able to have real opinions yet. Okay. I can help you with this, Anne, because I'm going through this myself and I don't have children. I have nieces and nephew. And it's interesting because this is really fascinating to me. Just now I realized I have very little family stuff that I inherited from my mother's side of the family. Very few artifacts of that side of the family. I do have some artifacts from my dad's side of the family. What I would say is this: we get to be the deciders on what stories live on and what stories don't from our family. Okay. And so, what I offer to you is you get to decide what stories you share with the kids, even if they're 5 years old, saying, see this coin? Your father brought this over from Ireland and kept it as a lucky penny or whatever. See this, this stuff, these forks and knives was the good stuff that Grammy used and then I used, and now I'm handing it down to you because I would like you to feel a connection to the family. So you don't need, you're saying they what if they want it? They might want it, they might not. Some people are more sentimental than others. What I would love is if you started to share those stories, because the story is more important than the thing. And then I think this would be a great thing. And I'm doing it with my nieces and nephews to be very clear about saving this stuff if they would like it. But if they don't know yet, it's okay that you're feeling okay with sharing the story so they can decide when they are a little bit older and maybe have more of an idea of that stuff. Um, And if they say to you, thank you, but no, I don't want that, being okay with releasing it out to the wild. Okay. So I say that with you because many of us are feeling the saddled burden of this stuff that nobody gave us permission to let it go of. The implication was you keep this stuff because it has a family story. At least in my family, it was. I have gotten so much better at lovingly choosing the few items that I want that represent my family on both sides and lovingly letting go of a lot of it that just doesn't do it anymore or maybe doesn't. I have experienced very few ill consequences from doing that. You know, I love it. Carla Jane has been pushing the Jane Mansfield documentary, but she says it speaks to this also. It's a lot. Here's a funny thing. I saw a smidge of it and they were talking about some sinks. And I could see Mariska, or whatever you even pronounce her name, getting choked up about sinks, you know? Yeah. Now, Joy, everybody's stopping to quit the birthdays. I just say this to be hopefully every single one of us here will be alive in the year 2050. Heck, why don't we do a YouTube live or whatever the 2050 version is there? Hopefully, all of us will be here and will be healthy and happy and loved and loving. Okay? So think about that. What do you want to say? What do you want to look back on from your age of, I'm 84. What did I do with my life between the ages of 58 and 84? I know that my physical body will be slowing down. So I should probably do some of that far flung international travel closer to 58 than 84. It would be more comfortable and enjoyable. you know? Now, yep, yep. Yeah, and so many things and stories. So again, you get to decide which ones go through. Weed through it. Tell the story of your family with the stories that really make you feel like represents your family the way you want it to be remembered. Every item that somebody else owned tells the story of this was owned by my dad. This was owned by your grandmother. This was owned by your great grandmother. This was owned by your great aunt. I cleaned out my great aunt's apartment when she passed away, when she was in her 90s and I was in my early 30s. I've been doing this for years. She was my godmother. We spent quality time together. She and I actually decluttered a lot of her one bedroom apartment that she had lived in from 1945 until 1990, no, 2000 something. Well, she went in an old age home at some point, but you get what I'm saying. Is everything could have a story. It doesn't mean you need to keep everything. Okay. So Wendy says it was someone I personally knew. I would like to keep an item I remember them using or wearing. I remember saying this and I still have it. Do I use it? No, but I have a pitcher, a ceramic pitcher that's flecked and stuff. And I remember my grandmother making Minute Maid orange juice in it. The Minute Maid where it was in a can and you peeled off the top and you slooped it in there and you mixed it with water. Excuse me. And she died when I was 18, 17, something like that. I remember saying as a kid at her house, every time I see this picture, this makes me think of you, Grammy. And I was just I was trying to share a nice little moment with her. And she said, really? Okay. Would you like this picture? And she gave it to me. So I have it on I have it on a shelf. And every time I see it, I think of my Grammy. Now, right below it is a picture that's kind of more my style. But it's one that I think I got either from a yard sale or the family thrift down in Newport, Delaware, because I have two pictures like that. They both have stories. Which is the story that I would rather keep? If I were to say I could only own one picture, you know which one I would choose is the one for my Grammy, you know? Or on the flip side, I could say, you know what? I really prefer these other pictures, so I'm going to let this one go and I'm going to send it off with love. I'm going to send it off with love and hopefully you find a home. You are going to find a home that works. Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay, good. So Leslie has come up for air. That's a great thing about a timer. Again, your timer reminds you to breathe, to get some fresh air. So she was working on photos, if you remember, and you were right. I got lost in thoughts, but got rid of a bag of duplicate photos and consolidated two albums into a third. Notice the difference between the photos that tell you stories and the level of clutter that just says, oh, this is a duplicate, I can get rid of it. It's a different part of your brain. So notice those two work together. And sometimes the one that's just making that, nope, that's a duplicate, it's a duplicate, it's a duplicate. That can be very easy to do. But then when you have only the originals and no duplicates, that's when you get lost in stories. Do I want to keep this story? Oh, I remember that story. Do I want this story to live on past me? Now, you know what? I have pictures that are my family, my history with my friends in high school and college, and my husband and my life. I don't care if any of those stories live past me. You know, I am hoping that I live in the future after I'm gone through the stories that are told about me of how I was a kick-ass great auntie and that people, you know what I mean? My legacy, I don't want it to just be stuff. Okay. So I live a life that is showing my nieces and nephews to go out and explore the world, to not let fear judge, to get fear stop you, to encourage them to live a life that's more hopeful and less fearful, to calm down their nervous system so they can go out and truly decide what makes them happy. That's what I want my legacy to be, frankly, not a box of sterling silver. But I have a box of sterling silver because that was important. And actually, it's really funny. I was picturing the silver from my grandmother. I don't have Grammy silver. My sister does because she's the one who has like the family um, things. I have my great aunt Silver because she was my godmother. And both of them, let me be clear, both of them came from nothing, not a thing. But it was important to them. It meant something to them to be the kind of people who had silver. The funny thing is, much like I worked at Mikasa and Pier 1 and Filene's and places like that, my great aunt and my grandmother worked for a China importer and in a place where fancy china and silver. I bet they got a discount. I bet they got a discount, you know? All righty. So Carla Jane says, since I started my journey, and we've got about 15 minutes left here, just again, coming up for air to be like, oh, wait, that's right. We're getting deep, but we can also come up for air. Carla says, since I started my journey here, I find others have such trauma with their past. If mom kept too much, I want nothing. If she threw it all out, I can't throw anything out. Yeah, it really does work both ways, you know? So Carl says, I truly have friends hard on both sides of that fence and they are hurt both ways. Yeah. So notice either extreme is tough. That's why it's a rainbow. It is a spectrum. We are all somewhere in between the extremes because you're noticing too little or too much doesn't feel good. Too much makes you feel gross. Too little makes you feel gross. What we're looking for is just right. And so notice that you can react to how you were, but if you don't heal from it, it can feel oogie. Okay. I love it. I love this. Kat Roby came across some papers for taxes we're still compiling for extension. Woot woot. Yeah, I hope it was paperwork that says that you can reduce your tax burden legitimately. Leslie's also saying too, and this is the cool thing about doing the sentimental declutter that we were talking about family heirlooms and things that Anne was mentioning and Leslie going through photos. It was fun to reminisce. Yeah, that's why we keep those things, to reminisce, to have fun, to relive those memories, to see what our hair looked like, right? You know, and this is great. And Anne and Leslie, get your cup ready because I'm going to read Anne's comment. She says, I love it. I love it. And I want to focus on stories over stuff. Yeah, stories over stuff. It's an alliteration. Write it down. That might make it easy to remember. That's why I said to my nieces and nephew when they turned 10, with love, Auntie Beth and Uncle Cliff are not buying you any more things. We are going to help you have experiences in the world so you start to discover who you are and what you want in the world and to decrease the focus on material goods. What are the things you like doing? I will share with you that I had a conversation with my nephew that I know for a stone cold fact impacted where he went to college by just asking what he liked to do, but with love and curiosity and no pressure. And he felt safe enough to say, I like to ski. Now he goes to college and he's at a school that he's doing good at, and he gets to ski a wicked lot. So do not underestimate the power of story and connection. Okay. All right. So Jennifer is saying, I want to donate dishware sets to the Salvation Army, but I have been stalling since I feel I should wrap before packing so they don't get damaged. I notice when something is multiple steps, I put it off. Okay, I get it. Jennifer, you're like, oh, I got to do this and get it. What's the first step? You know, what's the first step? Now, I do this too. Okay, so here's the thing. What I would say is put it in a box. Now, I used to work in china and dishes. What I say is put it in a box and then put paper around it. You do not need to lovingly, wrap every single plate. If you put it in there and then you put paper in there and then you shake it to hear if it's jingling or not, that's good enough. That is. Okay. Don't make it more difficult than it needs to be. Put it in a box, put paper around it as it's in there. Make sure when you move the box that it's something you can lift, that it's not too heavy that somebody might drop. Maybe you put it in 2 boxes, you chunk it down. Okay. Like seriously, when I worked at Mikasa And we got some of those boxes that my husband's stuff is still in right now. It's empty, but they had a box that was literally maybe like a foot by a foot, and they had it packed up. So, and there was very little packing material in there, but it decreased the likelihood that um, it would get broken. So don't put too many steps. Don't focus on all the steps. Just focus on what the next one is. Okay? Focus on what the next one is. Aw, Judy Dukes and Wendy saying nice stuff about me in the comments. You will be remembered as a kick-ass decluttering life coach by all of us. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, she is a treasure for us all. Well, you know what? I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. So thank you. And you know what? My legacy can live on through you by you decluttering and then sharing what you're learning from me. Share that with somebody else. Yeah. Okay. And Carla Jane, I know you're a praying woman. She says, I pray I keep the good things that matter, the sweet memories that matter. The rest is released to give fresh memories and stories to new people. I love that. You can increase the likelihood of you and not just hoping and praying. Write down the good stuff that matters, the sweet memories that matter. Write them down so you don't forget them and share them sooner rather than later. Share them with your daughter, share them with your grandchildren, share them with anybody who you think would want to know this stuff. Say, gather round, chillin'. I'm going to tell you a story, right? Even if you don't have the time to do it right now because they're too young or they're too busy living their own 20s lives, write down those stories so when there is a good time, you don't have to rely on your brain to remember it, because as we age, some of us may get dementia. Some of us may get Alzheimer's. Some of us may die before we share the stories with the people. So start it now in your 50s and 60s and 20s or wherever you are. Start sharing the stories. Okay? I love it. Leslie says 16 ounces of water done. She loves it. Notice how when you drink, it's chunking it down. It is. You can't just go glug, 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 glug. 64 ounces. I'm making up for lost time. You will throw up. You will drown yourself. Doing something a little bit at a time, a sip at a time, a word at a time, a sense at a time. Okay? Yeah. There we go. What a good idea. Wendy was offering to Jennifer, maybe do that, the wrapping up of the stuff while you're watching TV or a podcast or while we are doing these lives. The steps will fly by in no time when you aren't really thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah. And seriously, Jennifer, I want to lovingly encourage you to stop identifying as a perfectionist. Distance yourself from being a perfectionist, and life will be so much sweeter and better and feel good. Perfectionism is one of those ends of the spectrum. You never get there, and it never lasts, even if you do. You could have a perfect weight on the scale, and then the next day you drank too much water, which is good for you, too much, and suddenly it changes. So please, 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 everybody here, perfectionism is going to make you unhappy. Don't do it. Do good enough. Do good enough. Many things will never be perfect. And if you focus on the imperfections, you're going to just be disappointed all the time. Instead of focusing on the weight I have lost, I could focus on the fact that I've had cellulite since I was 13. I have stretch marks from when I grew, that there's so many negative things you could focus on that are not perfection. Perfectionism is a lie sold to you by marketers to buy a product. Okay? Do it good. Don't do a crappy job. Do it well and let it go. All right? Now, there we go. Wendy says, so this might be a thing too. Wendy is offering, I donate breakables to a different place because Goodwill would just dump it into a bin regardless of the fragility, right? So, yeah. There we go. There's my friend Leslie M with the pretty hat. Yep. I love it. Carla Jane is using the technology we have here in 2025 to make it easier for her to tell the stories. She is doing videos to myself to write down. The great thing is too, you can do a video and you can put it into something like Otter.ai, and they can put it into words for you, and then you could just go and edit it. That's what I've done before. And if I were to ever write a book, that's exactly what I would do, is I would speak what I was going to put into my book, and then I would put that file into a place that translates the spoken word into words, and then I would go from there. So use the technology that's available, you know? And I love that. Hey, there we go. Everything scrolled down. We've got about 6 minutes, but we are in bonus territory. Wait, this just in. This just in, live from Kat Roby. Kat Roby says, we are in huge bonus territory. 5 more files. Toss, toss, toss. You know? Yeah. I love it. Now, can you hear the vacuum? Isn't that great? My husband's vacuuming the basement because they were making a drum riser down there. So Jane says, or excuse me, Anne says, I stopped using the term perfectionist since meeting someone recently with actual clinical OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. She can't sleep if there's a wrinkle in the drawer liner. Notice perfectionism isn't making her life better, you know? Yeah. Here's a funny thing. Perfumes y Aromas says, I was keeping my glass figurines for a long time. Then one day the box fell from the shelf and all broke. I didn't feel bad for it. You know what? Yeah. It's kind of sometimes a relief when things get crapped up, because then it's not your fault that you got rid of them. But it can be even better to not have it sit there and wait for that, if you just do it, let go of those things. Somebody out there is going to love those little figurines as much as you loved collecting them. Wendy is saying, I missed out on a lot of life because of perfectionism. I didn't do something because it wasn't perfect. Wasted too many years waiting for it just to be right. Yeah. You know what? I will never forget beating myself up. And this was literally 20, 30, 40 years ago. And so my physical body looked so much better than it does now because of age and whatnot. I remember feeling so insecure about how I looked in a bathing suit that I almost didn't go to the beach. And then I was brave and I pushed through and I went to the beach, and then I got to the beach. I can imagine myself. I was there like in Hull, probably at Nantasket. And I was like, oh my God. First of all, nobody's looking at me. Second of all, there are people here with, quote, worse bodies than I do. And you know what they're doing? They are having a kick-ass time. They are bending over and helping that little kid with a little bucket and a little shovel make a sandcastle. They don't care if their ass is cellulite and big. I want to be more like that. So notice, if you're waiting for something to be perfect, you are missing opportunities to live life. Start, lowering your expectations. Go out there and do the thing. Don't waste years because your skin looks crappy, and even crappy is like a judgy word, but I struggle with body dysmorphia issues because I came from generations of it. But what I say to you is, don't let perfectionism stop you from doing something you want to do. Yay, yay. Kat Roby, I love it. Good stuff. You are the historian. I'm done. Only child looking for roots in history. Yeah, I feel disconnected. I remember once, I will share this with you. I remember saying once in high school, what did I want for Christmas? And I kind of jokingly serious said, I want connections. I want connections, because there were people with connections that were doing cool things that those of us who felt disconnected weren't. And I realized it because my family isn't particularly connected. So then what do? I am trying to make connections with my nieces and nephew. Just an observation. All righty. So we got a couple of things here. Oh, we only got 2 minutes left. This has been wicked fun, you guys. So Wendy is saying to Carla Jane, I think of giving new stuff away as a bonus for someone, like what a score for them. I do that too. Yeah. Kimmy says, I transferred old 8mm movies to thumb drive so future generations can enjoy. They are no longer hiding in dusty boxes. So you changed the way in which people can watch them, but are you watching them? Get the family together. Watch those things. Tell the stories. We did that. I've got a thing right here of slides that we last Christmas invited my husband's brother and wife up to stay at our house, and we had a slideshow. And we pulled out the slide projector, and we put those slides up on a screen. And then it gave them the opportunity to take pictures of the slides on the screen. And then those guys told the stories. Now, some of the files, some of the slides we did keep, but that's so we can get better copies made of them. Use the things you have. Share the stories of your sentimental objects. Take a picture of that, thing that you made in college and send it to a college friend. Um, send a random note to somebody you went to grade school with about your grade school, theme song. Connect with somebody who you used to work with who you don't do it anymore. Like, share those memories, because that's why you save them, to remember. And it might be fun to connect with people. Okay. So I love this. Kat Roby went to a nude beach once in Victoria, British Columbia. She sang out, "I sing the body electric," and did it for me. And nobody was invested in how I looked. There we go. And Kat Roby says, now my tagline is, "I am a connector of people and things." Me too. I'm a connector. I love it. Yay. This was so much fun. Kat is saying, so inspiring to be here. And this is just an hour 1 of 2 for me. I thought I'd barely make a dent, but I'm light years ahead of where I imagined. So notice, if she allowed herself to believe that she didn't make a dent, she would never have started. But she started anyway. And now, like, what's his name? Duck Dodgers in the 21st and a half century. She is light years ahead of where she ever thought she'd be. There we go. All right. Oh, Carla Jane, what a cool kid you are. Carla Jane is going to call her aunt today to ask her to lunch and travel to her to give her the annual and take her to lunch. What a good kid you are. All right. This has been great. Now, you guys, there will not be another YouTube live. Excuse me. I'm burping up here until literally, I'm looking at the calendar right now. Oh, I may need to rechange that. Oh no, I don't think we're leaving until 1 o'clock. Okay. Tuesday the 8th. Okay. I'm Tuesday the 8th. I am Tuesday the 8th. I am Tuesday the 8th at 11 a.m. We'll do a YouTube live. We got a couple of TikTok lives, and I may do some pop-up TikTok lives. So just be on the lookout. But if not, have a wonderful 4th, 5th, and 6th. I'll see you on TikTok on the 7th. Monday, we've got a decluttering party at 8 a.m. I know it's early, but I needed to get my hair cut, and it was the only time he could get me. Okay. So go be free. Go celebrate your independence from tyranny and clutter. Do good stuff. Connect with people you love. Do not connect with people that aren't good. And I will see you on the Muppet Show. Okay. Bye-bye.